Have you been looking to invest in real estate in Mexico and looking for some expert guidance? Well, today I'm joined by Ruben Castellanos, our friend and colleague here in the Jocotepec area, who's been selling real estate in both the US and Mexico for many, many years. And we're going to talk about just that: how to invest in real estate safely, how to find the best investment opportunities, and exactly what's going on right now in the world of real estate in Mexico, especially in the Lake Chapala area. Welcome, Ruben.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, man. Good to see you
It's
again.
great to have you here. So we're
Thank you
gonna
very
we're gonna
much.
dive into all of that. And if you're just watching us for the first time and you're interested in more content about how to relocate to Mexico, including the visa processes, real estate, legal, everything else that's involved, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. And also check out our consult, which is a free consult that you can apply for if you're looking for one-on-one help with experts like Ruben and the rest of our team. You can just go to entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. So diving right in, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to be selling real estate here in Mexico.
Well, I was originally born in Mexico, it's the city of Guadalajara back in the days. And I immigrated in my late teens to the San Francisco Bay Area. And I lived most of my adult life over there in the United States when San Francisco was a beautiful city. It still is, but it has changed some.
I'm familiar. I grew up in the Bay Area too.
That's right.
It's definitely changed a
Absolutely.
lot.
So you know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
absolutely.
In any case, I got into real estate 20 years ago in the San Francisco Bay Area. I saw the need to service my community, the Hispanic community. And, I made the right choice. I did well. And I was treated my clients with the utmost respect and honesty. And that reflected me in my business because, most of my business always was through referral. And I'm proud of that because, I did not only make sales, I made long life relationships. Most of my clients became friends, and that's something that I thoroughly enjoy.
That's amazing.
Uh,
And you still have clients up there. Like you go regularly back to the Bay Area
yeah, I got
and
it.
meet with them.
I'm semi-retired, basically. I prefer to live here in Mexico. But however, I'm still a clientele back there that I need to take care of, and well, it's a win-win situation. Most of my family is still in the United States, so I go back and forth. Like every 3 months, I got to go up there. But it's all good. I love it. And one of the things that I've started doing real estate here in the Chapala area is because I known about this area since 1978. Even back then, it was a great place for expats. This American community here in Chapala has been established for the last 70 years.
Isn't it like the biggest community of North American expats, like US and Canadian expats outside of those countries in the world?
I believe so.
Ajijic, I think. Yeah.
Ajijic is one of the main towns that attract all these people from America and Canada. Uh, they could be, there are communities growing all over Mexico. It's just because of the whole present situation, globally.
Hmm.
And there are several um states like in Baja California, those, American communities are growing. In the south, near Cancun
Hmm.
and Merida in Yucatan,
Yep.
also that community is growing.
We have a lot of
And
followers living there.
oh,
Merida,
absolutely, yes,
Cancun, uh, Cabo San Lucas, especially those beach
you got
communities.
it.
So you mentioned a couple things there about sort of some of the trends that are going on in the US, and a lot of our followers are aware of some of these trends. Like there's economic indicators that are slipping, there's a lot of like political unrest. I mean, what's been your experience, especially having spent so much time in both countries and seeing what's happened, especially the last decade or so in the US? What are you seeing in terms of why people are saying that they want to move down here, or even just your experience of why you wanted to come down yourself?
That is a great question, and let me give you my perspective. I understanding, how the system works here in Mexico as well as in the United States. Uh, I see that in Mexico there is a lot of new money coming in. Uh, we have the transition, since the pandemic when the supply lines got disrupted, a lot of companies realized that maybe we shouldn't be manufacturing, all the stuff, in Asia when we have viable countries here in America, and I'm talking about the whole continent of America, Mexico, Colombia, Panama, you name it.
So nearshoring,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
really
So,
started to take off during the pandemic.
and the climate in Mexico politically is very, very positive. You know, they actively trying to attract all these manufacturing companies that used to produce all these things in China, especially. They want to bring them here because now you don't have to spend millions of dollars just in transportation. Now the um, the labor cost in China used to be a lot cheaper than Mexico. That's no longer the case. Actually, I believe it's now cheaper. The labor costs are cheaper in Mexico than it is in China, and you won't have the supply chain problems that we had,
Yeah.
5 years ago.
That's a big deal for businesses because I mean the pandemic was kind of like the show that you can't depend on one country, especially one country that's so far away. And to your point, China's getting more and more advanced, and I think that it's starting to get to the point where it's about to reach global parity in not that many years with the U.S.
Right.
In terms of their economic indicators, in terms of their wages and things like that. It's going up.
Right.
Versus Mexico is still a little bit more on the developing side, at least compared to China, and there's still a lot that can be done for having much more affordable labor costs, and then it's kind of a double whammy where it's a 2-for-1. You get the transportation that's
Right.
way easier because you can transport things by land, or if it's by sea, it's a much shorter route.
Well, another thing that a lot of people are not aware of is that the level of education in Mexico, especially in the middle class, is gone much, much higher. So now you have all this talent that can be exploited here in Mexico. When all these new companies come in, they can rely on better quality of labor, more educated labor force, and people that can be relied on to make good product, right? And at a very reasonable price still. So I do believe it's a lot of companies. We're talking about big names, Nvidia, I believe also Microsoft, Tesla. It's building a couple of new factories up in the north of Mexico, and this is a trend. This is just starting. So if I were an investor, not a foreign investor, I would be looking into Mexico, to make a few investments because in the next, I don't know, decade or two, I mean, Mexico is going to explode. I believe, but this is we're at the ground level. This is when good investors, smart investors come in. You don't want to come in when things are
when it's already like the next U.S.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
So close.
So
And the peso has been holding really strong. I mean, it used to be just last year at some point, I think we were getting close to like 1920, and it's already at 18.3 and a half now, 18.35 as of today.
yeah. No,
The-
actually,
the
when
dollar to
AMLO
the
was
peso.
getting out of the presidency, he almost hit 21 pesos per dollar. Right now, it's at 18. Today was at $18.35.
18 pesos,
18
yeah,
pesos.
per dollar.
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
That's
18 pesos,
incredible.
yeah.
I mean,
It is.
It really
But,
is. And our rent's gone up a little bit because of that, but I
Because
don't
of-
mind because Mexico is doing really well
Yeah, exactly.
as a whole. So
No, and the stability of Mexico. Politically, Mexico is in a transition. However, there is two major parties, and the party in power, it's supposed to be for the people, but they're not anti-business. That's a good thing.
yeah,
And there is a lot of noise about cartels, and Mexico is so unsafe. You go down to Mexico, you're gonna get assaulted, you're gonna get killed. It's nothing like that. I mean,
what are some of the myths you've heard, and what's the reality on the ground? Because a lot of people are asking that. We have a lot of followers. I mean, you guys ask us all the time, like, is Mexico really safe? Can you find what you need? Are you going to get involved in some sort of violence there if you move down there? Is it? And realistically, like, what are you actually seeing? Because we know that's not true,
Yeah.
but a lot of people still have some of those
Well,
doubts.
me being originally from Mexico, from Guadalajara, and still have a lot of family members living here. They've been living here all their lives. And Guadalajara built, a few years back, built a reputation of being controlled by the cartels, which is not true. I mean, criminal elements are all over the world, right? It's just that they have come up to the forefront of the news, of course, Uh, however, I mean, I go to Guadalajara all the time. I never have a problem.
Us too. Yeah, we're there like every couple months. No,
Right,
no issue
and
other than the
yeah,
traffic.
and then I talk to my family members all the time. So how are things in Guadalajara? Any, getting a little bit crazy? Is it getting more dangerous and stuff? They say, no, Tio, it's the same Guadalajara as always. Like all the big cities, there are focus, there are neighborhoods that you have to be careful not to go in there at night. And yeah, there are criminal elements that fight among themselves. That's when you get, all these shootouts and stuff. But that doesn't happen in the United States.
I
Let
would
me ask
argue that
you.
it happens more in the U.S.
I
So number
mean,
one, I mean, people are asking all the time about like the cartel situation, for example, and the cartel has a much bigger presence in the U.S. than it does in Mexico. Number one. Number two, there's a lot more of the fighting actually going on in the U.S. and on both sides of the border, like close to the border areas. That's very common. But you're down
right.
here. I mean, this is where they all have their families, and
Exactly.
in Merida as well. Like it's very even more safe there.
Right.
In Chapala, I
Absolutely.
mean, forget it. They're protecting the area because they know that there's so many expats coming.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, especially in this area, it's well protected because of the large American community. And they don't want to start messing with Americans or
Their money.
Canadians. Not only that, they don't want to bring on their heat. Let's say if they murdered a couple of, Americans for no good reason, you know that, the U.S. is going to put a lot of heat on the Mexican government, and the Mexican government is going to come to, like a ton of bricks against these criminal elements. They're not that stupid,
Yeah.
believe me. The role of the cartels is more like this. Mexico became a gateway for drugs to the United States. That's what they always focusing on. How we can transport all this poison, to America,
Yeah.
and that's where they make all their money. So that's the reason that they don't want to mess around too much with the citizenship. Of course, there's small criminal organizations that in certain regions of Mexico there is it's a little more trouble. And you do some research, they're like you just mentioned, more in the northern part of Mexico, and a couple of other areas in the state next door here. It's called Michoacan. There's certain towns that they are controlled by criminal elements, cartels, but they they stay focused there. Now that we have the Guardia Nacional, their main objective or the main mandate, keep the good areas safe, especially areas where there is a lot of American residents, Canadians. So they are keeping that, stable in this area. I mean, I go out at any time of the day here in this region. I never felt threatened, and people are usually very welcoming. They're warm, and I can go anywhere. I feel safe, and I can have fun. I can go out to dinner. I mean, you name it, and I don't see any. I never encountered anybody trying to, on a threatening manner, or being assaulted, or give me your money, or else. None of that.
And that happens, I would say, more frequently in a random way in the U.S. in a lot of places.
I believe so. Absolutely.
What do you think it is that like helps to fuel the narrative that Mexico is so dangerous?
Well, because of the atrocities of the cartels have committed, that brings a lot of
So the
attention.
history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is the history of the cartels, and they can be very brutal. But if you're not, you know, if you're not running drugs, or if you're not into like kind of shady deals, and you don't try to get involved with the cartels, like selling them stuff, you won't have a problem. I mean,
So this is our tip for today. Do not become an approved vendor of the Mexican cartels, and you should be out of
yeah,
out of
because
trouble.
you can get you in real
I mean,
trouble, and these guys don't fool around. I mean, these guys can be merciless.
yeah,
It's like every criminal organization all over
course.
the world.
What are some of the other reasons? I mean, we talked a little bit about the benefits of Mexico and like also the reality on the ground here compared to some of the myths. What do you think some of the reasons are that people are kind of being pushed out of the U.S. and Canada? Like, what are some things on the ground there? I mean, from your perspective, like what maybe caused you to move, whether it was the financial, the safety, political, and why other people are doing the same?
Well, most definitely the financial situation, the economy in the United States, even though they painting it, with rose colors. Oh, the economy is great. Yeah, no, we hit a few rough bumps and stuff. But in reality, the cost of living in certain areas of the United States has become prohibited. It's so difficult just to make ends meet, especially where I come from, the San Francisco Bay Area. I mean, an average two-bedroom apartment in the San Francisco Bay Area is you got to pay for 500 dollars a month.
It's
That's
insane.
insane.
How
I
much
want
do you have to be making to live there?
I mean, just to make a decent living, and we're not talking about saving for vacation or a beautiful car or certain luxuries. No, just basic living. In the Bay Area, you need a minimum of about $120,000 a year
So
in
that's like middle
income.
class. Is
That's
about
just to be
120.
middle class,
Yeah.
and like I say, just covering the basics. Is that won't give you too much money left for vacations or you know to treat yourself to a nice couple of dinners a month or whatever. No, just the basics is getting really difficult. Also, the political climate, especially in California, is so divisive. And I don't want to get too much into
No,
politics,
please.
but the thing is this: you know what? All these liberal politicians coming out with these ridiculous laws that give all the power to to homeless and indigenous peoples and minorities and stuff without taking into consideration what it does for the economy.
Mhm.
I mean, California should be, the number one economy in the world.
Yeah.
However, and it is one of the top economies in the world, just the state by itself. But the government, through their policy, they waste so much money that things are getting really, really bad. And and just by showing favoritism to certain sections of the population, they create more division.
Mhm.
Or they want to say, oh, it's we're everybody's equal, everybody deserves, and everybody deserves this, and everybody deserves that, and we gotta help these people, and we gotta help these other people. But they never talk about responsibilities.
Mhm.
You know what? It's just like let's give him money, that will fix the problem. Well,
Open up the borders because
yeah,
we care so much about people. Just let them all in.
they've been throwing money at the problem for
Yeah.
the last 30 years, and the problems have become exponentially
Well, that's
worse.
if you
It's
talk
just
you
like
talk about
it's
homelessness too,
amazing. Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Newsom was using that in his campaign speeches decades ago, right? When
Right.
he was in
He
different
was,
offices.
yeah, he was going to fix the
He was gonna,
homelessness.
and then we got another billion here, another 5 billion here, another 10. I mean, I don't know how many billions they've thrown at the homelessness
I'm
in
telling you,
California, but
it's just becoming a little, it's chaotic, the way they're handling things.
yeah,
That's the second main thing about, people moving.
it's not just the money;
to
it's
Mexico.
like how the money is
Yeah.
handled. And look at the tax rates too. That's another thing I've seen in California. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got like almost a 50% marginal tax rate now at the highest
I
level.
remember San Francisco back in the 80s. You can walk almost on any neighborhood in the city, never get bothered by anyone. You wouldn't get assaulted. They were a couple of like really bad neighborhoods where it's a lot of drugs and prostitution, but that's been happening for years and years and years. Now it's just getting worse. But I'm talking about like the main street in San Francisco, Market Street. You're
Mm-hmm.
familiar with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
The financial district, you know, certain beautiful neighborhoods in the city. They were clean, nice, controlled, safe. Now half of the neighborhoods in the city, you cannot go out on this. You know, you cannot go out at night and
Mm-hmm.
not be, you know, not get bothered by crazy people, beggars, and a lot of assaults.
Yeah. There's a
And
lot
not
of
okay,
carjackings. There's a lot of
carjacking.
homicides, a lot of
Oh,
robberies.
it's just car theft is out of control in the
Yeah.
city, and you know there's a lot of stores closed because of the new law that if you're still under $1,000, we won't throw you in jail. We won't do anything.
Yep. It's ridiculous. And
It's
then after the pandemic too, because I was there right, I mean, even during for a couple months and then after
Right.
the pandemic, and Market Street and all those other places, I mean, 75% of the buildings, the restaurants, the coffee shops are just completely boarded up. There's nothing there. It was all closed, and you would
Absolutely.
walk around at night, like in downtown, and the only thing open in the entire, like in a 10, 15 block radius was like one Burger King. And that Burger King also seemed to be run basically by criminal groups. I mean,
Right.
they were like all in there, and I was like, just getting my cheeseburger. I'm not here to bother anyone.
No,
You
there were
know,
a lot of
it was-
restaurants
Yeah.
and you know fast food stores and stuff. They had to close down
Yeah.
because all these gangbangers that were hanging out at the door, customers couldn't come in and get their food.
Yep.
So who wants that? You know.
No, and they it's almost as if why again I won't get into the too much into the politics, but like it's almost as if they want to see everything just
Right.
burn down to the ground.
So
Yeah.
I can see why there is a lot of interest in moving to Mexico, especially in this area, especially for people like my age. I'm gonna be 65 in a couple of months, and I talked to a lot of friends from the Bay Area in my age group, and half of them are looking into, how are things in Mexico? How's it going? Is it a good place to go? You know, to go and live there? I say, no, I don't want you there.
No, stay there. Don't
just
come
kidding.
here and
No.
raise all the prices.
Yeah,
right?
I don't want you to raise all the
Yeah.
prices and get crowded here. No. But kidding aside, I'll let them know. Hey, listen, this is a great area, especially here. We have all the services. We got the proximity of Guadalajara with the international airport.
Mhm.
We got all the services. Nightlife in Guadalajara is awesome. So if you come here to have a nice, quiet life, enjoy most of the time with rest and relaxation, but still you want to go out and have fun, all you have to do is get an Uber. It's an hour drive to Guadalajara, and believe me, you can do the town, and you can have a great time. So there is a lot of positives in this area.
Mhm.
Weather-wise, this is just about the best weather globally, year-round. And you have experience, the rainy season
Yeah, and you
The-
mean
the-
specifically in Chapala.
in Chapala.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Chapala region right now, which is where I've been living in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I made the right choice of moving into this area. I'm very happy here.
How much do you spend here? And this is helpful for people as well, like that are
Mhm.
trying to actually understand and budget and things like that.
Right.
We did a video about our own costs of living and some estimates and things like that. But I'd love to hear it from you. I mean, how much do you spend here
Mhm.
compared to where you were living in the Bay Area, just on like
Oh.
your personal expenses every month?
Just to keep it really simple, I'm having a really good life here. I go out to dinner, I go out to have fun. I treat my girlfriend, a couple of times a week, nice meals and stuff. And I live in a very nice apartment overlooking the lake, as you can experience. I don't even spend 1/3 of what was spending in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Wow.
And
So almost 70% off.
70% off.
Yeah.
So, and believe me, my quality of living has increased. It didn't decrease.
Yep.
You know,
People
I used-
always think that's another thing that we hear really
Mhm.
common is that if you go and move to Mexico or to South America or even other places where people are living, like some of our colleagues in Africa, they're like,
Right.
you're going to have to lower your quality of life. We're all sort of living in mud huts or something. That's like literally
Yeah.
what people will say. but it's not true.
No, it's not true at all. I mean, now we have neighborhoods here in Ajijic where the average home is $800,000 US. And they're beautiful homes. I mean, we're talking about, 3,500 square foot home with 3-car garage, front yard, backyard, inside, indoor pool, and, it works.
Mhm.
And now there is so many good quality restaurants. I'm not talking about, um, gourmet quality dinners,
Like Michelin star
and
kind
meals, and yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, and is if you really like the high life, just go to Guadalajara and you get the top restaurants that you will find in the U.S.
Yeah.
So, but in this area, I mean, I can go any day of the week and just find whatever. Actually, find any kind of food that I want.
So let's
And
jump
high
into the real
quality.
estate and the lifestyle a little
Mhm.
bit. So maybe first on the real estate. You mentioned $800,000 for a house, and then I want to talk about different ranges and
Right.
things. But
Mhm.
for somebody coming from California, that might not seem like a lot. I mean, we've got family in California where there's houses. There are just decent houses, like
Right.
they're okay houses, and they're 1.2, 1.5 million
Right.
and up. So like for half the price, you're getting somewhere that's not in the suburbs, like in a suburb of the South Bay Area,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
You're getting something that's in a very walkable town where you don't need a car most of the time, and if you're in the
most of the
downtown
good
area,
stuff most of the good stuff is within walking distance.
Yeah.
And you know what, I just befriended a couple of two couples from Canada. They live in La Floresta, which is one of the nicer neighborhoods in Ajijic. They don't own a car. They walk everywhere.
Mhm.
And if it's a little farther up, our Uber ride here sets you back like $7-8 from that one little
well, that's
town
all
to
the
the
way out
other.
here to Hoko.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
That's
So
like a full 30, 25, 30-minute
yeah,
drive.
right. Anyways,
In LA, that would be probably $50.
yeah, exactly. So, and the range, the ranges in price, it is from here to there. Here,
Yeah.
I mean,
800,000. That's like like you mentioned, nice big house, probably a small, small to medium
I'm
family.
talking about high end and
Very
the,
high
and, the,
end, yeah.
and the best neighborhoods in the area.
Yeah.
But you can get a very decent size single family home, 2-car garage, three bedrooms to bath, or 4 bedrooms to bath, with a nice garden in the back, from anywhere from 350 to 500,000. Depends how close you are downtown Ajijic. But if you come to Jocotepec, I mean, you can get some beauties for for a really, really low price.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about the difference. So like some different areas and some of the price ranges that you've seen. So
Yes.
Ajijic, it sounds like if you're buying something, if it's a house, mostly they're single family homes. There's
Right.
not a ton of apartments,
Right.
at least for sale.
Well, now they have come out with a lot of new developments where you can
Mhm.
get a nice, decent condominium, decent size, mid-size, 1,100 to 100 square feet, for in the neighborhood of 300,000.
Hmm.
Okay,
So that's
Anywhere
about
from-
the floor for
Yeah,
something in
exactly,
a walkable area in Ajijic.
and I believe not necessarily in Ajijic, but the suburbs of Ajijic or on the outskirts of Ajijic for 250,000. Nice,
That's not bad.
Yeah, no, you're talking about almost brand new condominiums.
And
or brand new
even there,
condominiums.
everything else goes down a lot. Your food costs, right? Unless you're shopping at Super Lake and you're buying all American imported stuff,
Not
which is a
kidding.
whole
Oh,
other.
it's a whole different world of wax.
But all of your
But-
costs of living go down too, so you can actually retire.
Well,
here.
just to give you an idea, my electricity bill in San Francisco was $150 a month for a single guy.
Yeah.
Right. Over here, I think my average bill is about $15,
15.
12 to $15.
Yep.
I
Ours
mean,
is a little
not
higher.
even 10%.
Ours is a little higher because we've got 2 air
Right.
conditionings. We run servers for our websites, and
Oh,
we've got
yeah, you got
we
a
have
lot of-
lights and cameras and all the stuff.
Yeah,
So I mean,
but,
maybe
yeah.
we're paying
No,
$30 $40
Yeah,
a
right.
month.
in internet with cable and everything else, it's about an average of $45 a month in
Mhm.
this area. And property taxes are ridiculous. I mean, if you buy property tax, uh, my cousin lives here in Jocotepec. Her and her husband is an American. He's been here for 25 years. He goes, I'm not moving back to the United States. Are you kidding? I'm having a great life here, and I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyways, their property tax, I believe, it was $240 last year.
On like a couple $100,000 property.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Compared
Yeah.
to in the U.S., that would be thousands.
Oh yeah. I
Depending
mean,
on the state.
$240 a year on property tax. I mean, that's nothing.
I think we're paying that a month.
Yeah. Over there, you pay
In the Bay
you pay
Area,
twice
yeah.
as much a month.
Yeah.
And yeah, their home is worth about 250,000. It's a nice duet, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, beautiful place overlooking the lake. So, oh, absolutely.
So that's
That is-
Ajijic. What are some of the other areas that you see a lot of expats? Because you've got kind of San Antonio there close by, right? You've got
Right.
Chapala. You've got obviously down here Jocotepec, and then there's some other developments that we're going to look at pretty soon.
Right.
Here we were talking about the other day
Right.
that are kind of around the bend, past Jocotepec.
Well, that's the thing. We're seeing a lot of foreigners starting to look outside Ajijic.
Why's that?
Jocotepec. Well, for starters, the prices are much cheaper. Like the town of Jocotepec is more like old town Mexico. You're in Jocotepec and like you're in the real Mexico. With people that just go about their lives, in a regular manner. You get all the traditions, well, you have the infrastructure, but most of the neighborhoods in Jocotepec are old. It's an old town, but there's new developments popping up all around Jocotepec. There is this little town El Chante, which is across the street where we live. That's also I see that the potential of that little town coming up. I see new investors, coming in and buying really old, rundown homes with a large lot, and they're picking it up for really, really low prices.
Interesting.
And
What are some of the prices here in El Chante?
You know what? Not quite sure because I haven't sold anything there yet. But brand new condominiums right here in El Chante, and I'm talking about 9,000 square feet, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 stories, with the works, very new, like less than 2 years old, for 120,000 US.
Wow.
Those to me that's a bargain right now.
Yeah, or buy the lot and
yeah.
just build it yourself, right?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And you know what? These statistics show that in the whole of Mexico, they're expecting real estate prices to go at least 10% a year for the next 5 to 10 years. In this area, I can see that equity going up at least 12 to 15% a year in the next 5 years. Because, I mean, yeah, it lacks a little bit of infrastructure, maybe the roads can be wider, maybe could be a little more roads and stuff, but that's coming. As the population grows and more investment come in, the
Just in this
politicians
area,
are,
because Ajijic has, fantastic infrastructure.
Oh, absolutely.
I think here it's good. It's just
Right,
like
yeah.
they're it has to
Yeah.
be expanded a little bit.
Right.
But people think, hey, can you get do you have good internet where you live? And are you driving on dirt roads? Are you guys on camels to get from? You should see some of this stuff in our
And I was
comments.
just, referring, a
Yeah.
common complaint here is there's only one road from Chapala, which is the farther town, and then it's San Antonio, then it's Ajijic, then San Juan Cozalá, and then Jocotepec. There's only one road, single lane each way. That could be easily be expanded to, 2 lanes each way.
Sure.
There's no plan to do that anytime soon, but I'm pretty sure that's about to change because it can easily be done.
And they have a bike lane too,
right.
connecting the entire.
Oh,
side of the
absolutely.
lake.
The whole,
Yeah.
you got that bike, special bike lane. They call it ciclovia here.
Uh-huh.
So it's all for cyclists and people on, what do you call them? Peatones.
Pedestrians.
Pedestrians. There you go. That was the word I was looking for.
So that's
mhm,
kind of a little bit of a range, right? So you've
right,
got all the way up to 800,000 for a super high end home in Ajijic, which is like
right,
the epicenter of all these expats
right.
here, all the way down to if you want a single family small home somewhere like Chantepec, down to about 100,000 or
Oh
so.
yeah.
Jocotepec, are they similar prices or
Well,
even?
all homes in Jocotepec in the lower neighborhoods, I think you can probably still find homes um, under 100,000.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised that you can find you know, a single family home, 3 bedroom, two bath, no car, garage, but for maybe 70 grand, 60, 70 grand.
Yeah,
I would
somebody who's
say.
in the U.S. that's like, yeah, we've got a $500,000 small home in, let's say, Ohio or somewhere. They're like, wait, I can be living somewhere where I can walk to everything, go to the store, not need a
Yeah.
car.
And
For
I can find it for less than 100,000.
Yeah, that's a hell of a
Indeed,
deal.
that is a good deal.
So why would somebody choose one area versus the other? I know if you don't really speak Spanish, if you've got money, you don't really mind spending a little bit more for like the
Right.
premium luxury. Maybe Ajijic is a better
Right. Hmm.
destination or Chapala. I guess Ajijic is like number one in terms of English. Chapala is a little bit behind that.
Right. Uh, well, the consensus now, because like I say, this American community has been here for over 70 years. Now, a lot of people understand that English as a second language is not a luxury anymore. It's more of a necessity.
Hmm.
So I'm surprised the amount of people that are bilingual here. I mean, their English is a little bit, heavy accented, but well, they can communicate, and that's what you want. But the main thing is that people are very friendly here. They're very patient and they're very warm.
Hmm.
So if you're an American and don't speak any Spanish, believe me, they're gonna find a way to still, provide you with good service. They'll be friendly, they'll be welcoming, and uh,
It's not like France where speak French. You're
speak
in
French. So
France.
I don't
Speak
want to talk to
French.
you. Oh no,
We don't. We
whatever.
don't. We don't want to
No,
lose
not at
English
all.
here. Yeah.
No, no, no. And I started to go into the American Legion, where ex-vets, hang out,
Hmm.
and you meet all sorts of people there, and mostly make English spoken,
Hmm.
um, and most of them they've been here at least 3 to 5 years, and a lot of them they've been here over 10 years. They don't speak any Spanish, and they just love it. They never had a problem,
Can you get by without Spanish though in some other towns? Because I know in Ajijic for sure, maybe Chapala.
Hmm.
But what are some reasons? I mean, if you don't speak Spanish, like, can you still go somewhere like Jocotepec? Because there are some.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I
I
go,
haven't seen a ton of
yeah,
Americans here, but I think
but
they're
yeah,
starting to come.
no, I go to uh, my favorite restaurant in Jocotepec, and the servers there, they're not fluent in English, but they can communicate,
Hmm.
right, in English. The owners, they speak English. Uh, if you go to the little town plaza, there is a lot of businesses there that people are bilingual. And if they
Yeah.
don't, okay, if you talk to someone that is not bilingual, they find someone to come and help. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Mexicans typically do try very hard
To,
to accommodate,
to
even if you
accommodate,
don't speak
exactly.
Spanish. That's
Right.
very common. Although I do recommend that people also study Spanish and they try to get better because
Well,
it's going to help you integrate
oh,
a lot
absolutely.
more into the
It never
community.
hurts to learn second language. I know it's not
Yeah.
easy. You have to put some effort into it. But believe me, once you get on a roll, you start liking it.
So
It's
why
like,
would you recommend somebody go to Jocotepec versus Chapala versus El Chante or up here even on the mountain? What are some criteria that you might listen for when you're talking to like a potential client in your
uh-huh,
real estate business where you're like, this might be a good town for you?
right. Well, this is the thing. You know what? People come with different visions. People just want to have privacy, and they don't care about being nearby the centers of the town and all the services and stuff on the stuff. They like to be self-sufficient.
Like
And
off grid kind
yeah,
of.
right. So if you go to the other side of the lake, which is only half an hour away, you can find like really nice properties with a lot of land for a very reasonable price. And
Mhm.
they might like to do that. There are people that they want to experience, the warmth of the old Mexico. So that would be a place like Jocotepec for them. I mean, and it depends, what kind of vision the people that are going to move into the area have. But we as realtors, we knowledgeable about most of the towns, and we can always, steer them into the right zones or towns. So
Exactly.
no, that's and that's the good thing. There is diversity here in this area.
There's a
From,
lot of
from
diversity.
Chapala, from Ajijic to Jocotepec to, you know, uh, I'm partial to Chapala because that's like the main town.
Mm-hmm.
Jocotepec is the most popular because of all the foreigners.
Ajijic, you mean?
Yeah, no, Ajijic, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But Chapala is like the center of the government in this zone. And Chapala has all neighborhoods, medium-sized neighborhood, big neighborhoods, high-end neighborhoods.
It's more of an established city.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and a lot of good restaurant business, a lot of nightlife activities. I mean, during the fiestas, go to Chapala. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to be around.
Absolutely. And one note that I'll interject as well is if you're
Mm-hmm.
looking to work with our team, including Ruben and other people that we work with in the area, don't miss your chance to grab that free consult at that link below. That's entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. If you've got $1 million in liquid net worth or more, then we can help you with the relocation process, with immigration, with finding properties, doing tours of different neighborhoods. Just book that consult at entrepreneurexpat.com/consult, and we can get all the information we need from you in order to help you make the best decisions when it comes to moving to Mexico. What other information do you think people should research? What other things do you think they should know about Mexico that maybe they don't hear from the mainstream?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna have to make a second interview here and
Yeah.
a second video because it's so much stuff that
Sure.
I can feed you. But the main thing is that Mexico is happening. Mexico is going up internationally, but the essence of the Mexican people, the warmth, the friendliness, it's still gonna be here, right? And this area, I don't think, like weather-wise, we're not going to be affected by climate change anytime soon, and not for at least another 50 years. I don't think. I could be wrong about that. The growth, I think, is going to be a controlled growth, and even though I can see a lot of more new people coming into the area, there's still a lot of land and a lot of places to grow. So yeah, I will encourage anybody that's looking into moving into Mexico, and you like nice weather, you got a slower pace of living, and you have the convenience of a big city just an hour away.
And an airport, too.
And
You
an
can get from Chapala, you can get to the airport in 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And and if you like the beach resorts, we have one 3.5 hours away here, Manzanillo, where Las Hadas is. That's where they filmed that movie 10 back in the 80s. Dudley Moore and what's the hot chick? What was her name? Bo Derek.
Okay.
So no, definitely, I will encourage to at least come and take a look. Believe me, it's worth it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for being here. This was like super, super informative. We really appreciate having Ruben with us
I'm
today.
very glad that I was able to provide a little bit of good news and information. So
Absolutely.
anytime.
And let us know in the comments if you've got any questions for Ruben, if you've got any questions for anybody else in our team. What are some of the things that you are thinking about when it comes to moving to Mexico, especially with regards to real estate that you are curious about? Just let us know below in the comments. We would love to hear them. And don't forget to check out all of our free resources and courses that we have available in the description of this video. And like I mentioned earlier, if you've got $1 million in liquid net assets or more and you want help, personalized one-on-one full white glove service relocating to Mexico, just go to entrepreneurexpat.com/consult and we can help you get all that sorted out. Thank you, Ruben.
It was
Again,
a pleasure, my friend.
appreciate you.
Okay,
All right.
anytime.
We'll see you guys again soon for another episode.
And that's a cut.